Hello, everyone, and welcome back to RCI TV and Season 2 of the Night Owl Championship, Round 3 tonight from Silverstone. I'm Jesse Lee, Nick Setnick behind the cameras, and Stewie in the booth with me this weekend. It's absolutely amazing. We are already at Round 3, and last week at Monza, Stewie, was absolutely insane. By the way, welcome to the booth for the first time with me.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm glad to be here. And especially after the mayhem on Monza last week, I'm really excited for this race to see what how clean they can keep it, I guess. And with the reverse grid we have in this championship, which means that the current standings of the championship will be reversed, so there's no qualifying. Yeah, most of the fast guys will be starting in the back. Like, for example, Fabian Schmidberger, who is leading the championship right now. He will have to, try and get as many positions as possible to maybe stay at the top of the leaderboard.
Well, he's in the pit lane, probably one of the safest places to be, but he was one of those guys that was able to parlay a not so great starting position because he did do well at that opening round at Laguna Seca. He was able to survive the crash-filled first few laps of Monza, and he got himself a nice finish and also has the championship lead. But like you said, it is going to be tough because in Night Owl Season 2, if you are leading the points, you are going to start last, a full inverse grid, and there is no qualifying. So it is going to be interesting to see today what they're able to accomplish here at Silverstone. I imagine a lot of these guys that are quick, that are starting in the back, are not going to have too much trouble, Stewie, moving through this field. Silverstone, a lot of passing opportunities around here.
Yeah, and I would also expect most of them to just do a pit stop in the first few laps so they don't get caught up in the traffic. Especially like the first few corners with the S's and the long straight. There will probably be a lot of fighting in the mid to backfield. So yeah, to avoid getting caught up in all of that, they will most likely just do an early pit stop. And I think most of them starting in the back did that on Monza and Laguna Seca too. I mean, I didn't watch Laguna Seca, but I I watched the race on Monza. So yeah, that's what I noticed, that a lot of them just made an early pit stop to just avoid getting caught up and having to plow through the field.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those interesting sort of nights. I think you're going to see a lot of passing. We are going to have a very quick restart, just trying to make sure that we have all the cars that are signed up to this race. So we will let you know whenever that occurs. Well, actually, you'll probably see when that happens, but just be a short little restart here. Just want to make sure that everybody gets in, and it will be a quick one. It'll only be a 5-minute practice or so, and then the race will start. It's so strange, it must be said. Very strange not having a qualifying, because you basically know where you're going to start because of the inverse grid, but you go straight into practice into the race, and there's no build-up. It goes from I'm still feeling out my car to we're racing.
Yeah, and also what I would imagine is like not everyone is quick on every track. So the qualifying is kind of the time where people see, okay, on this track I don't know, like a second or 1.5 seconds off pace, or I'm in this group of people which I'll be racing with. But here you're just being thrown in the water and having to deal with it. Additional to being inversed from the grid. And what I'm really interested in is how Alistair Gillis will deal with this, because me as a Porsche driver myself, I know Silverstone can be quite annoying with all the straights, and then him having to fight with the Mercedes and Ferraris around him. That's going to be interesting for me.
Yeah, the two standouts from last week for me were Alistair Gillies and Fabian Schmedberger. They were able to start well deep in the field and come through the field without a whole lot of incidents, at least early. And I was also told, because again, we didn't know who had damage, who didn't have damage, that sort of thing. I thought that Fabian Schmedberger might have got a piece of some of the incidents that he was around. Certainly, there were many opportunities for that, but actually, no. A lot of those cars that pitted, they're just the faster cars that did not want to be stuck in traffic. A legitimate strategy that we will likely see repeated here today, I'm told, that a lot of the faster guys that start deep into this pack, Stewie, are likely going to come in very, very early to do their mandatory stop. Smart move. Get some clear racing room, run your own pace, and also you don't have to race anybody to get those positions on the other end of the racetrack.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, like the avoidance of damage and incidents in this championship is probably one of the most important things, because due to the nature of the reverse grid where the slow guys are more on the front, there's got to be more incidents than in any normal championship. At least that's what we've seen so far, and I guess what everyone would expect. So being able to avoid the incidents, not getting damaged, just driving their own pace, I guess that's the ticket to the top here. And it looks like Fabian Schmidberger has done that quite well on the. I mean, it's only 2 races, but he's still at the top, so he's managed to do that.
I am sitting here wondering that in a couple of races' time, when it comes down to deciding who's going to win the Night Owl Season 2, I've been wondering, we might have a new championship leader every week. Of course, if Schmedberger wants to keep the championship lead, he is going to have to pass nearly every car on the track. And oh, by the way, we saw Schmedberger sitting at pit road earlier. He's in a Nissan GTR, not one of the favorites in this series, but a Nissan GTR leads the championship standings. That is, if that doesn't tell you what Night Owl's all about, nothing will.
Yeah, and picking up on him having to pass everyone there, I don't actually think he has to, because like I don't exactly know the proper numbers for the points, but like not everyone in this race, let's say starting from position 14, can actually catch up even if they win, as long as Fabian is like not last. So he doesn't actually have to be so far at the top, but he has to at least get some points so that the other people can catch up. But the point situation will definitely be closer here than in any other championship that we've seen so far, which is cool. Yeah.
I can tell you one thing, Johan Vane was really quick in practice here before the reset, and he's going to start second to last. He will start one position in front of Schmedberger, and his lap times were very fast. So the possibility of him getting a top 5, maybe even a podium from the back of the grid, a very big possibility. We are going to be missing some drivers tonight. Urquizy not in the race, and that's important. We'll see on the points championship because he's in 4th, less than, I think he's about 7 or so points out of the championship lead. So him not being here this evening will throw a wrench into his championship plans. But we still are going to have, as best as I can see, about 30 cars in tonight's race. And I'm curious to see just how aggressive these guys are going to be. Silverstone known for its passing, known for the ability to get position on each other, and not really known for big pile-up messes like Monza. If you weren't with us last week, it was a worse nightmare for a lot of the drivers. Just corner after corner on the opening lap, it was an absolute melee, and only a handful of cars were able to get through unscathed, change the complexion of the race entirely. But in the end, it was a fantastic finish and a good win.
And what you just made me think about is if Akisi is not taking part in this race, will he start first in the next one? Maybe he just doesn't like Silverstone and he just wants to, start at the front for the next track. But I'm not entirely sure how that will be handled.
So it's reverse points, not the way I understand it. It's reverse points. It's not reverse of the previous race.
Yeah, true.
So
I got confused there, of course.
So in case you're wondering who won last week, it was Johan Vane, by the way, who won the race last week, and he was certainly not a guy that we thought we would see up there. In fact, he was actually sort of helped a little bit, but he had amazing pace, and he's shown that again this weekend as well. But again, practice doesn't count for anything, and the race is the only thing that is important. As free practice ends, Mikael Sundstrom will actually be the quickest here in this incredibly short, abbreviated practice. But then again, not a lot of cars went out here to take time. Now they'll have the 3-minute or so cool down, and then the 5-minute countdown on the grid. And now the nerves are absolutely at the peak right now, as they are now on the grid, reverse of where you are in the championship standings. All the drivers with the most points are in the back of the field. And now all your practice, all your preparation comes down to this. How well can you navigate traffic? How well can you navigate your pit strategy? One mandatory pit stop here today. And of course, all you have to do is take 1 liter of fuel. And some of you I know are thinking, well, that's not a big deal, but it can lead to some interesting pit road mistakes. So, without further ado, let's see how we got here today after 2 rounds. This is the 3rd round in the championship. This is the pro split, by the way. Fabian Schmedberger in the 68 Nissan GTR, or the GT Triple R as he calls it, is at the top of the point table. Johan Vane in 2nd place, 1 point out. Bella Sane third and Urquizy fourth. Urquizy will drop down the list today after not being in it. Mikael Sundstrom, who we just saw, back in 5th place with 75 points all to play for. And Mallet behind him fighting fairly hard. Alistair Gillies is going to be starting near the back of the grid, but also does a good job coming through the field, 72 points. And then Katosi, Kupo, and Silva round out the top 10. You can see just how close all of those gentlemen are in the points. And think about it, all of these drivers are taking the final 10 spots on the grid. So absolutely going to be critical for them to have a good opening of the race. Jake Coombs starts 11th with Lebrecht, Mathis, Rogers, Octane in tow, and just look how closely they are. In fact, Octane and Massoud are tied dead heat, and so are Aravina and Kaya. And Ertan actually all tied at 47 points, and Conway rounding out the top 20. And that all these drivers are starting outside the top 10 today.
Yeah, and actually, someone else was also on 49 points. So we have 2 groups who are tied on points. And yeah, on 21st, we have Brunier, followed by Blanton and Jose George. I guess I'm just as fit to butchering names as everyone here. Then we have Jack. Is that somewhat correct, Jesse?
Which name?
The position 24.
Oh, Nerajak.
Yeah, okay, I can't do that. So somehow my mouth doesn't want to pronounce this name. But yeah, he's followed by Robles, Gill, Kara, McDude, Yilmaz, and I think that's our whole field with
Yep. Indeed.
Uh,
Actually, no, there
oh,
are more. There are
there are
more
more.
drivers. I'll be. Also worth mentioning that Brock McDude and Ryan Gill not in this race this evening, but here are the drivers who I can only assume have missed a race at some point. But if they are in the race today, I think Tuncer is definitely here. I thought I saw him earlier in Bugden as well. They will start near the front, but we do have the start of the grid and very close to the start of the race today. Anything is possible. And what you're going to see is the first half of this race is going to look a lot different than the second half the after the pit stops for some of these guys. Again, what we expect to see is a lot of the front running, or excuse me, the championship leading cars that are starting well deep in this field to just sort of try and survive lap one and get in pit road. I gotta say, it's a pretty good strategy when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they can find their pace really quick before they end up in the traffic again. Doing the pit stop in the first lap is probably the best way to progress forward, and I would expect to see at least the last, I mean, the first 10 drivers of the championship do their pit stop early, probably more, but I would expect them to all do that, because it's just there's no way you can get the same time by trying to overtake everyone, even though everyone is pretty close. But doing the pit stop is definitely the way to go here.
Well, the cars leave the grid and they will do their siding lap and they'll come around and take that green flag. So this is the point where if you're up front, if you are Tuncer, Gonzalez, Bugden, or Cole, you are incredibly nervous here because maybe you don't typically get to start on pole position a lot. Maybe you know that there's some faster machines behind you. I would be looking personally to see Yilmaz and Cara and Robles and Jack and Jose Jorge and even Cody Blanton back there in 11th and Seb Brunier. And then you get into the meat of the sandwich there, Stewie. But I'm going to ask you, who do you like in this field to take it home today?
Well, as I briefly mentioned before, I would be happy if Gillies could make a good result here, just because I'm just a big Porsche fan. And there's not that many in this field. So yeah, I'm gonna be silently rooting for him. Who do you expect, or who do you want to win?
Well, this is interesting because you picked the 23rd place car. So for him to win, Alistair Gillies is going to have to pass 22 other vehicles today. I'm going to take that man right there, the guy we're watching in the number 23 Ferrari. I'm going to take Yilmaz for the win here today. I think he might have a good shot of it. I think some of these other drivers are going to be just a little bit too far back in this pack. But I think somewhere around here, Yilmaz, Cara, Robles, I think one of these guys can take it. So I'm going to go ahead and bet on the 23 Ferrari to win the race today. And by the way, you may have noticed we are using the GT version of this track, the best version of this track, with the GT pitch straight instead of the Formula One pitch straight. Love this version of the track. I love having Maggots and Beckett's being some of the first turns that you have. And I love sort of, just the GT straight. Just it feels better than having that tight chicane that leads on to the front straight. I just like it so much better as far as racing goes. 1 hour is going to be the race time. Scheduled distance 5:07 p.m. It's getting really hot out there. 34-degree track temperature, 29 ambient. Got a nice breeze out of the east. Partly cloudy. Track is optimum. Couldn't ask for a better day here at Silverstone in the UK to get a race underway, and these guys better be ready because turn one comes up in a hurry, Stewie.
Yeah, and especially the guys in the front, they will have quite some pressure behind them. It's like a whole field of, in theory, quicker drivers behind them. So it's gonna take a lot of concentration from everyone to just take it slow. Don't over push it. Don't try to win the race in the first lap, which should be a thing for every track, but especially with this reverse grid. So that's gonna be a spicy start. And we are approaching the start and finish line here, so we are about to go green in just a few seconds.
We are indeed. You guys can follow at home with us. Live timing provided by Stewie, actually, who wrote that up. So go ahead and if anybody has a link, drop that link. Live timing. Follow along with us as we get ready to go green of round 3 at the Night Owl Championship Season 2. Tunter will take us down to the green flag as they all stack up 2 by 2. The green flag goes down and instantly cars start jumping out of line trying to get the best position. Tunter gets very cleanly away into turn 1 in front of Gonzalez and Bugden. Cars going ever so slightly off. No major incidents. Actually, I take that back. There are a few cars off into the back here. But as they go through Megan's for the first time, there's going to be a car completely sideways. That is going to be a Honda. Is that Gonzalez that has went off? I'm pretty sure it might be, as they're nearly going 3 wide, can confirm. Nicholas Gonzalez has gone off. He will lose second place. He will be all the way back into the backpack of the 20s. Fairly messy start from some of the drivers in the mid-pack, it must be said.
Yeah, I was watching the back of the grid, and I think it was the top 10 or like the last 15 cars that were involved in a massive crash in the first corner. So there was, but most of the leading drivers have been already involved in an incident here. As we're watching Jose George making a move on, who was that, Robles? I think so, yeah. So, and he actually made that pass. So, despite the expectations, the first half of the grid actually way cleaner than the back of the grid.
Yeah, Yilmaz all the way up to second place from his starting spot. He started outside the top 5, but he has gotten up to second place now, but he's behind Tunster, but Tunster does have a 2-second lead or more. Nerjak here fighting with, I think that's going, is that going to be, oh yeah, Nerjak's had an issue here is what's happened. He has fallen down the grid, 24th place right now, fighting, I think that's Masoud he's fighting with. So something has happened to him. I'm not sure exactly what, we didn't catch that, but he did plummet down the order. That is not the start that car wanted to get. Fabian Schmedberger started 29th, or 28th, I should say, in this race. He's up to 18th place, so he was able to avoid the early melee here and get all the way up to that position. Vane 16th right now. And Sebastian Brunier up inside the top 10 in 9th. Nafker is 3rd at the moment with Bugden and Jose Jorges, and Cole rounds out the top 6. So a lot of positions changing hands. Sundstrom up to 17th. Mehmet Kara is near the back of the grid here. So I suspect something happened to him, but it is definitely pit stop time for some of these faster cars. I believe Sundstrom in, Mallet in, Rogers in, Katosi, Gonzalez, Gillies, Octane, Aravina, all in early in the race, and they are executing strategy here. There's no pit timer. You can pit whenever you want to, but oh no, disaster has befallen the 13 car. They now have a stop and go 30 because they have sped in pit lane.
Yeah, and you were talking about Sundstrom. He was actually up to position 13 or 14, so he got through the starting incidents quite cleanly. And as we said before, the majority of the leading cars, I mean the championship leading cars, did make their pit stop. I would assume that some of these guys that made the pit stop also had to do it because of repairs, but some of these drivers just went with the early pit stop strategy to gain some positions when they come out, because they now have a pretty clean track ahead of them. and we're watching Lantern trying to attack Cole here. Can't quite make it. So yeah, they won't be changing their positions. And I think except like the first 1 or 2 laps, this is pretty clean so far. So maybe Silverstone big enough for all these drivers here.
Cole going completely over the bumps and onto the grass there. I will mention Yilmaz has passed Tuncer for the lead of this race. Unknown if Tuncer had an issue or what, but Yilmaz now the leader of the race by half of a second. And we've got a car going way deep into the dirt here. I'm unsure if that's some sort of, yes, that's going to be an issue, I think, with them. A couple of incidents. I gotta say that the race start a little sloppier than I expected to see it, but Yilmaz is now gapping Tuncer by about 0.3 a sector. So that number 23 Ferrari is absolutely flying in the early stages of this race. I'm also surprised, I continue to be surprised that there is not more cars coming to pit road at this time, but the 13 has come in to pit road to serve their stop and go penalty for the pit lane violation. And this is something I'm kind of confused about as well, is this Fabian Schmedberger Triple R GTR, as he calls it. They have not come into pit, and yet they were the one that gave me the hot tip that they would pit incredibly early, but they're back here fighting really hard. What do you think that is? Do you think because he had such an easy start of it and he's almost in the top 10 anyway, maybe it wasn't worth it to pit that early?
Yeah, that's what I would expect, that they could avoid the first incidents at the start, so they probably gained like 10 or even more positions. And then half of the drivers that were left went into the pits, like Mikael Sandström, for example. So yeah, maybe they just thought, okay, we might as well just continue driving. I mean, he thought that, not the team event. So yeah, I guess he looked at the track and saw, okay, I don't have many drivers in front of me, probably ones that I would have to overtake anyways because they were with him at the back. Yeah, half of the fast drivers pitted, the other half didn't. I guess we'll see for whom it works better. And I guess your expectation for Yilmaz winning, it's looking pretty good right now because since you mentioned the 0.9 second gap, it became an almost 2 second gap, and that's been what, like 2 laps maximum, like 1.5.
Yeah, at best it's been about 1.5. He's absolutely flying right now, is Yilmaz, but Schmidberger is getting bullied out here by these cars. He's having a fight with Combs in the 34 Ferrari, but ended up losing a position to Massoud. Massoud, another car I thought would pit that hasn't pitted, but again, why would you if you're that fast? Massoud up into 11th place, Schmedberger down to 13th, but the battle between these two guys continues as we look at the back bumper cam of Combs looking back at Schmedberger here. That GTR, that thing pulls up in the corners, and it just, I don't know, it's like it lacks a little something down the straightaway. But up to about 17th place on back have already come in and completed their mandatory pit stop, and it has been a torrid start for some of these guys. We've already got cars, if you look at the track map, scattered most of the way around this track as strategy will take hold. Now that some of these guys have not pitted, as we see a potential change for 4th place, Blanton trying to get the pass made on Nafker. Does he do it? Yes, indeed. Clean pass. Blanton around Nafker. Oh, and there's a spinning Ferrari. Was that Jose Jorges or was that Tuncer? Now that's good. That's going to be Yilmaz. Yilmaz has spun it off in turn 1 here. Can I safely assume he got too much inside curb? That is indeed what happened, Stewie.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Like losing the position like that without anyone else involved. Oh, and he got hit again. Ooh, that's actually a lot of damage now. So I guess you jinxed it.
I'm not. Don't do that to me. Berke Yilmaz spins it out of the lead, has contact with cars. That's a blind corner, Stewie. There's no way to really see. I mean, there's waved yellows, but the waved yellows don't really do any good if you can't see where the car is.
Yeah, that is true. And he was standing just perfectly on the acceleration line, on the ideal line there. So yeah, really hard to avoid them. And he's actually getting hit again. I'm not sure why he's trying to fight with the current state of his car, because he will have to pit anyways, I guess. I mean, it doesn't look like he can just continue with this car here. So yeah, taking another bit of damage. That's going to be difficult for him to get back here. But I mean, he hasn't taken his pit stop yet, so yeah, depends on how much damage he has.
It's every racer's nightmare to be leading a race and have an unforced error, and then your opportunity. I mean, he was pulling away. He had 2+ seconds, like you said, Stewie. He had 2+ seconds on Tuncer, and he didn't really have to push that hard, so to speak. Obviously, he's trying to make a lap, make a number, and make that gap as wide as possible. But what a nightmare. I think we've all been there. Tuncer back in the lead, by the way. He leads Jose Jorge's by less than a second. Jose Jorge's is closing down on him, and there is the two leading Ferraris, the 24 and the 778. In-car cam from Jose Jorge's here as he continues to close down on Tuncer. Let's get some of those Ferrari engine notes real quick. Well, that car not performing the way that Tuncer would like to. Going to go around the outside as Jorge's defensive is Tuncer. Can't quite get the move done. Will fall back in line, but he's absolutely eating him up. And I think I see the scope of the problem for the 24. He just doesn't have as good as turn in or out as some of these other guys, because these are two Ferraris. You would imagine they would handle very similarly, but Jose Jorge's able to turn down deep into a corner, and the Tuncer 24 Ferrari just not able to do that. But nose to tail are the leading two, and if you are the 24, this is the second time you've been hounded for the lead, and you're hoping that maybe you can hold on just a little bit longer here. Serious challenge from Jose, it must be said, but he's also being very smart about it. Doesn't want to go too far. And of course, like you said, Stewie, at the top of the show, you can't win it on the first lap, but you also can't win it on, the only lap that pays anything is the last one. But very clean pass. There's that understeer from Tuncer again. That allowed Jose Jorge's to get in there. New leader, the 778. And NAFCA is not too far behind for that second position either.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like as if Tanka has some kind of damage, because I think Tanka and Jose George were pretty close from the start, and yeah, suddenly, he looks way slower. So I don't know, maybe he had a small contact somewhere, because that pace didn't look right. And I guess in a bit we will see Navske also catching up. Like he's already 0.4 seconds behind him, so it kind of looks like Tanka will get pushed even further down the grid. And at the moment, we are watching the name that I just cannot pronounce.
Nirajak.
I don't know. The TLJ are just conflicting in my mind, I guess. But yeah, he's being chased by Robles, who I believe is also quite high up in the championship. Or is he not? Okay, I don't see him. So yeah, they seem to be kind of in the middle, approximately where they started. And Fabian Schmidberger in the back here, that means something happened to him, I guess. Because I think the last time we saw him, he was in 16 to 18 somewhere.
Yeah, something to do with the pit stop. I'm being told it was a mechanical error when they were leaving the pit. I don't know what that means, but some sort of pitting error that has led to them being dead last in this race. Your championship leader is running last on the road. There were 28 cars that took the green flag here. There's 26 left in the race. And Fabian Schmedberger, the last on the road, and the long 45 minutes will ensue where they try to get as many positions that they can and get as far up and save some points. But silver lining, Stewie, next week they won't probably have to start dead last.
That is true, but I guess it's still pretty annoying for them because they were doing fine, and yeah, now they'll probably just get a few places in the back, but yeah, nothing big. And we see that Navska is yeah, even closer to Tunka there, as we mentioned before, while we're watching the fight between the who is that? The fourth. Actually, it looks like they're lapping cars, unless they're not, because then there's like a big fight between 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's definitely a very big group of cars. And who's that? Who's going for the overtake? Looked like
Oh, 3 wide.
Ooh, 3.
Still 3 wide. This is going to end in tears. Contact up in the front. Cars going everywhere. 3 wide down out of 2 wide. But you want to be single file as much as possible. But they will have to sort it out here. Tight left-hander. They're still going side by side. Sebastian Brunier in the McLaren fighting as hard as possible, trying to get around these team cars. Trying best. It's going to be a block. He throws a block and gets a punt down the straightaway. Absolutely incredible stuff. Thinks about going down the inside, thinks better of it, gets on the binders, but he's going to continue to try and go around the outside here at the end of this lap. Incredible stuff out of the 777 of Brunier, trying to get every ounce of performance that he can. British manufacturer versus British manufacturer, positions gained. Though not for, actually, no, that is for position. All of that was.
Oh, then it's actually, yeah. I mean, these guys are racing hard, but was it actually Brunier who managed all the overtakes? Because I think it was Ayrton, right? Who's leading this group right now.
Oh, that's not Brunier. Excuse me. I am not used to seeing more than one McLaren in a race. That is indeed everything about Brunier I just said. It's the number 16 of Ertan. That is my mistake. I'm definitely not used to seeing more than one McLaren. We actually have several in the race today, and my brain is trained to assume that if it is a silver McLaren, it is the 777. But in this case, that is not true. Ertan with those passes on Cole and Nafker there, getting it done. Brunier is in this group. He's just in the back of this group, not in the front of it.
Yeah, and then during all this fighting, Tunka actually ended up in 6th place. So from being second, he's now just in front of Brunier now, and will probably, yeah, by the looks of the gap, will be overtaken again. So I'm pretty sure he suffered some kind of damage somewhere. And who's that? The 2 Astons are actually still fighting. Oh no, the Aston is in front, but they are teammates around Ayrton here. Who, yeah, Ayrton did actually lose a position to Cole, I think, because on the straight when we noticed the mix-up, I think Ayrton was in front.
Well, Tunster here trying to be as defensive as possible. Started on pole, lost the lead early, got the lead back, and then again lost it again. That car clearly not handling the way that he would like his car to handle. Just doesn't seem to have the grip of some of these other competitors and some of the overall speed. Mehmet Kara behind him now trying to take away, or excuse me, that's Mathis behind him trying to take away that 7th position. And now you see the scope of the problem for Cole as Seb Brunier does close in on him this time, and I'm sure of it now that Seb Brunier is looking to pass Cole, and Ertan driving away into, well, into the sunset, I suppose, in third place. One thing I am going to be interested in paying close attention to is Jorge leads this race. Masoud in second place, 6.5 seconds adrift of the race leader. We're going to pay attention to that gap to see if Masoud, who is a very quick driver, very quick boy, as we look at Mallett's number 14 Lexus, and that car has been into something fairly hard because that body work is ajar. But again, we're going to pay attention to Masoud in second place. Play the game at home, will you, to see if he's gaining time on the leader. Alistair Gillies back in 20th place. I can only assume that Gillies has been in contact with someone or something, as Nerjak has completed his pit stop, but gets a stop and go 30 for a pit violation of some sort, I assume speeding. So that's going to damper his hopes of a good finish here today. Already 21st, will likely fall behind Fabian Schmedberger, I would assume, in the back of the pack. Stewie, not going to plan for a lot of the drivers out there today.
That is true, but I think there's a few that are actually doing quite well, because when looking at the timing board, we see Sundström and Vane, who were in the last 5 cars who started this race, and they are about 40, something between 30 and 40 seconds off from the leader, and they have actually done their pit stop. So I'm really curious where they will end up once the top 9 does their pit stop. And I think they have a really good chance of being in the top 3 with them.
Well, Brunier has now made that pass on Cole for 4th place, so put Seb Brunier up to 4th place, but Cole is not willing to let this go quite yet, as he is still right on the back of him down the hangar straight. And this is a great camera. This is from NASCAR here, looking at his teammate Cole and Brunier. Is there going to be a touch? There's absolutely a touch right there between Cole and Brunier. Spun him around, and that pretty much tells you the tape. Cole, the guilty party, gives the position back there. Incredible sportsmanlike driving, and that's just, first of all, good sportsmanship. That just shows you how close these guys are getting at each other when they're racing. A little miscalculation, you touch, and well, I don't think that will be anything that the stewards had to look at on Sunday, because, again, he gave the position back, and Brunier, in fact, doesn't even lose anything there.
Yeah, but I think that, who was that? That was the Ferrari of Tunker, and I think the Porsche didn't gain anything, but one of them did use that slowdown of the 2 cars to actually, dive bomb into the chicane there and make it a 3 wide for a brief time, and actually, get some positions back there.
Yeah,
so
that's Tuncer. I'm amazed to see him. I did not realize he was still that close to this fight, but look at there. I mean, that's exactly what you expect. You have to be. You have to be on it. You have to be aware. He obviously saw that and was able to position himself in such a way he got some positions back. So all of a sudden, Tuncer back inside the top 5, not looking so bad.
Yeah, he seemed to have recovered from his first few laps, or almost half the race. Let's see if he can keep up the pace and keep those 2 green, angry-looking Astons behind him.
Yes, indeed. I know a bunch of you guys in chat. I'm reading the chat, or looking at Conway and Sundstrom to know where they're going to come out in relation to the leaders of the race. Will admit to being incredibly curious myself, but I don't know if that's going to be settled anytime soon, as I believe the drivers leading this race might stay out as long as humanly possible. Masoud is catching the leader. Last lap caught him by a few tenths. He has taken about half a second out of the deficit in the past lap or 2. So he is gaining, but again, the biggest issue for them is this big boy right here, the big bad Bentley, or not, excuse me, not the Bentley, the BMW, excuse me. Mikael Sundstrom, and Conway just in front of him. If Sundstrom can get in front of Conway, then he will be the leading driver of the cars that have pitted. Of course, all of these guys pitted at the end of lap 1 or at the end of lap 2 to go ahead and get their stop out of the way. We've been told that that was going to be the preferred strategy for the remainder of this championship for the faster drivers at the back, and it looks like that might pay up.
Yeah, I just checked again, and the gap is about 36 to 40 seconds, which should be more than enough for getting into the top 3 when those guys are doing their pit stop. So with Wayne actually being second in the championship, and he's not that far behind Sundström, so one of the guys that are high up will definitely gain some points in this race.
Massoud into pit road, and so is Nafker in pit road as well. Less than 10 cars that haven't pitted as we near the halfway point. 5:34 in sim time here at Silverstone. Still partly cloudy. Track is absolutely perfect. Wind is actually sort of whipping around a little bit, but the track is cooling down. It's 32 C, 29 ambient, so not entirely just like late afternoon cooling of the track here. It may be benefiting some of these cars out here a little bit. But just like to say thank you to everyone for joining us here. Night Owl here on RCI TV. Love having you. Love bringing the racing to you. And if you've enjoyed the racing so far, why not leave a like and a subscribe? We'd also like to thank all of our partners here at RCI for everything they do for us. You can find the links to all of their stuff show in our description. Show support to people that support us. And oh, by the way, you may have noticed we have a brand new super chat option that you can tip the stream with if you so desire, and you can also become a channel member by clicking the join button below the stream. And that was a fantastic way to support the channel. You get some nice channel icons and loyalty banners in the chat if you so choose. Actually, quite exciting. We didn't actually know we had that until semi-recently, and Ryan Gill went ahead and just told us, he goes, yeah, I already set that up. So fantastic to have that. And regardless, if you're here, we appreciate you being here, and thank you for spending a little bit of your weekend with us. And this race getting into the halfway point here, strategy has played out for some of these guys, still yet to be played for the top 6 or so. That all being said, Cole is in pit road now. Billy Octane here being hounded by none other than Alistair Gillies. Gillies, who we suspect got involved in an early incident. Otherwise, I don't think he would be all the way back here in 17th after the pit stop. That doesn't seem likely. But Octane driving that that jacket from the 1980s, Stewie.
Yeah, and he just made a big drift there. So yeah, the gap got a bit bigger again. And yeah, as you said, I'm pretty sure I saw him being involved in the first corner incident. And yeah, while you were talking about the track and everything, I took a look at the lap times, and Sundström and Vane are kind of matching the times of the leading car from Jose George. So I guess all it comes down to in the end is how well did George manage to get through the field at the start, because he did start at position around 10, I believe. So he didn't have a clear road from the start. And yeah, he's still out. So with the same pace as Sundström and Conway, it will be interesting to see how close they will be together. And we could see a pretty intense final here on Silverstone.
Yeah, this is going to get intense one way or another. This is sort of the reason we went with reverse grid, because you get really great racing throughout the pack, and you have to overtake, and you have to know how to work traffic and work strategy to come out on top. Harry Conway and Mikael Sundström, I thought that this would be done and dusted by this point with the rate that Sundström caught up to Conway. But I'm not sure if Sundstrom's just happy to hang out here, knowing that he will have a shot at potentially a win here today, or if maybe it has equalized as the leader, Jose Jorge, has come in and completed his pit stop. And that will drop down to only 4 cars that haven't pitted now. I don't think you're going to see a lot of drivers waiting to right till the end. That was a favorite strategy of Season 1, but the rules are different here this season, meaning that, you know, the reverse grid and the strategy is very different because of it. So typically what we would see in Season 1 is a car that was way out in front or was leading would wait till the penultimate lap of the race to come in and do that pit stop. But we haven't seen that strategy executed once this season, and I don't think you will. So the point of me telling you that is I think Ertan, Brunier, Tuncer, and Mathis, I think they come in sometime soon. I don't think they're going to wait past the 20-minute to go mark to pit here. I think they'd rather get in and know what they're dealing with than wait to the very end and not have anything to attack or defend with, as these two are going side by side. Mallet trying to maintain position in that incredibly damaged 14 Lexus, but will do just that. And he will defend Katosi there after Katosi did get by him.
Yeah, and I think the reason that you remember before when we saw who was it, Tunker and George fighting, where Jose George was way quicker. I believe he went with only a half full tank, and that's why he pitted in at around the 30-minute mark. So yeah, he had a good pace in the first half, but yeah, now in the second half he actually has to overtake a few cars. And we see Conway, Sundstrom, and Vane all being in front of him. That's gonna be hard for him to get that lead back if he wants to.
Well, it is going to be incredibly difficult. Of course, we did see Conway and Sundstrom Vane go through. So Jose Jorge has effectively lost the lead of this race. Turns out Chat was 100% right. Conway, Sundstrom, and Vane were all faster than him on the road. And completely sideways is Katosi. Katosi's going to lock it up, try to keep it out of the wall. Goes on the runoff route, but there's melee in front of him. Several cars are off. Now, I do not know if that's the 16 or the 777, but that's definitely one of the Astons that we were looking at earlier. I'm pretty sure that was Cole. I have no idea what happened there.
Yeah, but in which corner was that? Was that before the Maggots and Beckett's? So like the exit of turn 1? So yeah. Maybe just failed overtake, like a small touch on the exit, which is a pretty fast corner. So yeah, just a small touch can send these cars flying.
So that's a different McLaren. That is the third McLaren. We have 3 of them. I've confused the McLarens with each other all day. So that was the third McLaren involved there. That's the 119 of Rogers. So that was neither the 16 or the 777, but we can confirm that that was Cole. And something massive happening in Cops there, where several drivers losing grip and causing major incident. The only winner out of all of that was the one that did not make contact with anything. Otherwise, fairly severe incident there. I do not know what to attribute that to. Maybe just over driving the car a little bit. But back up front, let's reset with 27 minutes of the race to go. This man right here, Harry Conway, could end up driving all the way to the bank. Mikael Sundstrom, by the way, has disappeared from this picture. He is now in 9th place, as if he has had some issue on the road. He was less than a second behind Conway and is now all the way back in 9th place. He should be in 5th, but that will promote Vane up to 5th place. Conway driving completely by himself now on his own island, and he stands to be the one to take the lead of this race. Harry Conway might be in the best position to win this race now. That's incredible.
That is true, yeah. And it didn't look like Sundstrom had any kind of damage, so yeah, I guess he just lost it in one of the corners, which is really unfortunate, as it looked really good for him until this point. But yeah, bad things happen. I feel like we've actually seen more people getting off the road on their own than we've seen incidents, which is a good thing, I guess.
You see a lot of cars going off here. I mean, I suppose the tires are wearing a little bit, but it shouldn't be that pronounced at this point. They've only been out there for about 30 minutes, but you are seeing a lot of cars go off. You're seeing a lot of cars make mistakes, and you're seeing a lot of slidey boys out there. It's just kind of strange. I'm unsure why exactly. We're seeing quite so much of that, as once again, Rogers here is attempting to make this pass on Cole. Will have the preferred line into the corner here. Gets chopped off a little bit, defensive stuff by Cole, but it will not matter. Cole has surrendered the position for now, and now it's Rogers' turn to shut the door. Door shut and locked. Position to Rogers, finally getting that pass done, even after a nasty incident a few laps ago. Here is Belisane. Belisane without his buddy Urquizy here today. Urquizy signed out for this race. So Belisane doing his best to rep his crew up into 7th place. Massoud, one of the fast guys as well, behind him, looking to take 7th from him. Still 3 cars left to pit. Ertan leads the race over Brunier and Mathis. Ertan has a 5-second lead on Brunier right now, but you know who doesn't have a 5-second lead? Belisane, as Massoud right behind him, but I'm not sure that Porsche's ever going to be able to out-drag race that Mercedes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. And I'm speaking from my own sad experience. It's really no fun to chase the Mercedes around the straights. I mean, he can still keep up because of all the corners, but yeah, it's going to be a really difficult overtake. And you were mentioning all the sliding we saw, and I would say that Silverstone is one of the hardest tracks for the tires. And with 32 degrees not being the coldest, I would assume that like over the whole grid, as we actually see Belisane making the pass, and it looks
what a move.
Quite easy. Like it didn't even look like a struggle. Yeah, so he just used the braking zone where the Porsche is stronger than the Mercedes and just outbraked Belisane and made the pass. Despite us expecting it to be quite difficult, he made it look super easy. But yeah, Silverstone, hard on the tires, 32 degrees, not being super cold. So I guess, yeah, most of these guys are just struggling a bit with their grip levels here.
Well, Conway continues to throw down the gauntlet. He has 8+ seconds on Vane right now. So that gap is going the wrong direction if you are the driver of the 759 Mercedes. But of course, if you are the driver of a 1980s windbreaker, which Harry Conway is very much that, it is going the right way. It's all coming to plan. But if I was him, I wouldn't know of all the sort of unforced errors that have gone on out there, but I would be very scared of doing so myself. It has been that kind of day. Jose Jorge looking like he's very racy on Vane here. I wonder if Vane's just losing a little bit of pace in the late afternoon hours here. Jorge's trying to make that pass, can't quite do it. Vane goes defensive here and will continue to do so, forcing the Ferrari to think about going up the inside. Nothing doing there into the chicane. And he will have to settle back in and try it again. Massoud looming large in the back of this picture. We just saw him get by Belisane a few moments ago. That Porsche is flying up through this field, and every position is so important for these guys that are challenging for this championship. It's very important. Oh, he's going to try to go way up the inside. He's going to Dukes a Hazzard up the curb, and that is going to be a huge miscalculation by Jorge, and that is not what you wanted to see. He's trying to use Stewie, the lap car, as a pick here, gets it gets it all wrong and just yeets up the inside here, makes contact with the car, goes full Duke boys over the curb, and loses several positions as now Massoud is up in side of Vane. No, he hasn't made the pass yet. Oh, no, he has, in fact. Massoud just did make the pass on Vane. So Massoud up to 4th place from starting well down the order, is now up to 4th place and is now 9.2 seconds behind who we assume will be the race leader, Conway. Mathis has still yet to pit, but has fallen down the order. You will have noticed he was 3rd earlier. He is now all the way down into 6th and has not done his pit stop. So something amiss, perhaps an unforced error or contact with the 55 of Mathis. 3 cars that haven't pitted, 2 of them up front, Ertan and Brunier. That gap's fairly stable. It might be going out ever so slightly in favor of Ertan. But the man we are paying attention to is Conway. Conway's about 26 or so seconds behind. That is not enough gap for Ertan to maintain the lead after the pit stop. Conway will clearly be the leader, but with 20 minutes to go, Stewie, can Massoud get to Conway?
It's gonna be difficult, especially because of Massoud is not really in the same position as Conway is, because Conway is just driving alone. He doesn't have anyone to fight. I mean, he was actually the only winner from the situation we saw last lap, because it was 4 cars involved in that, or was it 3? I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was 4. And all of them just are losing time by fighting every single lap. So the gap from Conway to Massoud will probably just get bigger and bigger.
Well, I can confirm every sector Massoud gaining about a 10th. You can watch this too by tuning into the live timing links in the chat here on YouTube. A little thing that Stewie actually cooked up, I'm pretty sure. Isn't that correct?
That is true, yeah. It's something that many people wanted, and I thought, well, give the people what they want. It's still not finished, of course. There's a lot of things that we could add to that, but so far it's been doing its general job of just showing some nice information. I guess it's a good thing.
So one thing, as Katosi gets passed there by Rogers and then struggles on the exit of the corner, one thing that they may not know about you, Stewie, you don't commentate a lot, but you do commentate. You're a broadcaster. You're a dev. Are you a steward as well?
Yeah, I am.
You literally do everything.
Apart from actually adminning races, I think, yeah.
I see. All right. Well, pretty much everything. Stewie is an everyman around here, and he does everything incredibly well. So if you like the live timing tool, let Stewie know you like it. I personally, Stewie, I love it. I love just the realism of having that for the folks that are listening to the race, or heck, maybe they can't. Maybe they're stuck at work, you know? Also an application of it. Maybe they're stuck at work. Maybe they can't watch it, but they can look at the live timing and see what's going on, root on their favorite drivers as always. Love having you guys with us here, and it's been an absolute pleasure so far in this race. It's unfortunate I gotta have more races with you, Stewie. You gotta get in the box more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just starting out with the whole commentating thing, so I guess as time progresses, I'll be in the box a bit more, not only in the background. Unfortunately, Night Owl is kind of your and Josh's thing, right? He's the usual commentator for this.
Yeah. I'm used to, and one thing I'll say about you, Stewie, I'm used to having you in my ear during the race. Anyway, so it's just that they can't hear you typically because you're my showrunner and producer typically.
That is true, yeah. And I'm also usually watching a lot more things than right now, so in a way it's less stressful, but then again, I'm talking, so it's kind of the same.
Told you Stewie does everything around here. And of course, don't forget about the man who's actually talking in our ear this weekend, Nick Setnick, of course, the broadcaster for Night Owl. And he's doing a great job providing us the pictures of the race today. 16 minutes left, nearing 6 p.m. sim time here in Silverstone. And battles all over the track, like this one between Cole and Octane. That 269 Aston Martin is fading in a big way. I think we've seen that over the past 15 or so minutes, now falling back into the clutches of Octane. Ertan is gapping Brunier by a few tenths a lap. Well, actually, probably more like a tenth a lap. I exaggerated a little bit. Massoud is catching Conway, but is there time? He's going to have to pick up the pace, it must be said. Conway is closing down on Brunier, and Ertan leading. It was 18 to 19 seconds earlier. It is less than 17 seconds as second place Seb Brunier brings his McLaren down to pit road and will get his service. Certainly Conway here will come through. It won't even be a contest. As here he comes. Brunier still in pit road, and pass made. Conway up to second place.
Yeah, and I mean, you said that Massoud is catching up. I mean, it's like half a second every lap, and we have how many laps left? Around six to seven. So it looks like it's not going to be enough. But we have seen a lot of cars lose it and just hit the walls or get on the grass. So there's still a chance for Massoud to get it. But yeah, if Conway can keep it on the track and finish this race cleanly, then that should be a good win for him.
Yeah, he's got 22.6 seconds, the gap. It was 25 earlier when I mentioned it. He has gained that much time on Ertan, the leader. Massoud actually lost a bit of time earlier. He had it down to 8 seconds. He went up to 8.4, and now it's back down to 8.1. So that gap is fluctuating. It is trending in the right direction for Massoud. It's just not trending quick enough, we're afraid. But Vane here finds himself in a fight with Jose Jorge here, who will not be beaten today. He had a mistake earlier, but right now is trying his best to get back inside the top 5. Vane trying to do his best to drive defensively. It's going to go all wrong here. That's going to be a big slide, getting too much of the curbs. We've seen that all day. These drivers getting way too much curb, Stewie, and it's costing them big. And for Vane, it's going to cost him a top 5.
That is true, yeah. And Jose George is, as you said, he's just not giving up. He was at the front, then he had a big mistake, and he's slowly but surely, he is catching up. Although I don't believe he will catch Bellassane. But yeah, 5th place, still not a bad result, considering his big mistake. So I would say he's doing a great job. But yeah, he's not safe yet. Vane is still behind him, and I don't think he will give up either.
I'm starting to lose my mind. I thought that was for position just then.
Wait, wasn't it?
Well, Jose is still in 5th place. Oh, wait, no, excuse me. Jose was the one making the pass. So let me explain. I have a little notepad with notes, okay, that I take throughout the race so I can keep track of people. And I wrote it down backwards. That's what happened there. I wrote the numbers down backwards. I usually have the passing car in front, but for whatever reason, I wrote the car that was being passed down first, and I confused myself to the point where I look a bit silly. Tuncer here is continuing to have a tough day. We're going to see exactly what happened. Is it the same thing as last time? Of course it is. Just absolutely clatters the inside curb there, and again, luckily a lot of runoff room, doesn't hit anything, but it's gone from a day that was filled with a lot of promise to a day that's going to end up with him finishing outside the top 10, potentially outside the top 15, as Ertan continues to lose time to Conway. It's not a ton of time he's losing, but it doesn't matter. Again, the pit delta is more than a minute around here, I think. Pretty sure, pretty confident in saying that. So, actually, it might not be. It might be closer to 40 seconds with the 1 liter fuel load that they have to take to satisfy the minimum pit stop requirement. But either way, it is still a lot longer, that pit delta, than the 21.5 seconds that Conway is behind. Massoud again continuing to catch, now only 7 seconds behind. He might have a shot if he can continue this pace, getting a second every lap or so. He might have a shot, as Massoud will not have a shot on Conway now, because that huge slide into Copse, or out of Copse, I should say, will all but seal his fate today. Massoud slides into Copse and loses a ton of time right after gaining a full second. Absolutely on the limit, Stewie, attempting to get everything out of that Porsche.
That is true, yeah. And although I think he wouldn't have caught him, even without the slide, because there's just not enough time. We were looking at Sunstream, though, a bit before we saw that slide, and I'm not sure where he was after he made his mistake. I think it was like around 12 or 13. So him being back in the top 10, yeah, he seems to still be quite fast on the track. And I'm not entirely sure, but he might even be able to catch up with Brunier here, and we could see a battle for the 7th place.
Yes, we could indeed, and I would very much like to be treated to another battle. Battles all over the place, including this one for 9th position. Rogers in that McLaren, looking incredibly fighty, must be said. NAFCA in front of him, trying to defend that position. Again, both these cars already in the top 10. And actually, they can see the fight for, I think, about 7th place. Maybe even 6th, as looks like NAFCA slides out there. Rogers will say, thank you very much, go around the outside. Can he hold him? It doesn't matter. Pass was already completed by the time they got to the corner, and position to Rogers there.
Yeah, and again, it seems like the stewards on the track have just poured some water onto most of the corners, because no matter where we look at, if it's at the front or at the back, we see just cars sliding left and right. We are getting towards the end of the race now, but yeah, still, it's.
I'm genuinely curious, Stewie. I don't understand it. I don't think I've ever seen this much sliding here. The track's not. I mean, it's definitely warm, but it's not that warm. It's not the wind. Could it be something to do with the tire model, or maybe they're just pushing so hard? What is your best guess?
Yeah, it could be the changes to the tires, actually. I haven't even thought about that. I mean, we're still running on the old tires here because, yeah, Night Owl started before the update, so we're not on the 2020 version on the track. At least I don't believe we are. But yeah, it might be something with the tire physics changes. And yeah, as I mentioned before, Silverstone, really hard for especially the left side of the tires, because we have so many fast right-hand corners where you just flat out, like there's let me pull up the names. We have Copse for the first corner, which is super fast. Then we have the Stowe corner, which is almost flat out after you get around the apex. We have the club corner, the Abbey corner. All of these corners are just flat out corners on the left tires. So yeah, this could be one of the reasons why a lot of these drivers are just sliding.
Well, talk about cars that are sliding. Both these cars in this picture, the 24 and the 55, Tuncer and Mathis, they've both been on camera today sliding. You have to, if you're going to make a mistake in front of camera operator, broadcaster Nick Setnick, you better do it really quickly. Otherwise, he will catch it on camera. The man has lightning reflexes. And we've seen both of these two gentlemen get off track and completely sideways, as the chat would say, slidey boys. And that's not the fastest way around here, no matter how much a drift champion would like to argue that it is. Drifting might be the funnest way to get around the track, but it's definitely not the quickest. I'm looking at you, Need for Speed, but these two guys have had their struggles. They're fighting for that 15th place, and this will continue for them as defensive driving from Tuncer here. We've seen it all day. Hopefully they can settle it without having any more strife, because Lord knows they've both had enough of that today. Haven't talked about much about Alistair Gillies. Gillies just outside the top 10. Looks like he will, unless something happens, be just a bit shy of the top 10, though any more sliding from NASCAR like that could absolutely change that rhetoric real quick. Something is happening, or something did happen there, as Ertan had pitted and is now back out on the track. He filtered back out into the 5th place. Harry Conway in the number 28 Ferrari now leading them around. No pressure from behind. Massoud is catching again. Gap was about 12 seconds. It's down to 10.5. But unfortunately, Stewie, not enough time. Only 5 minutes.
Yeah, but who does have enough time is Jose George, actually. Because he's catching Belisane there ever so slightly. But yeah, will it be enough? Because he just has two, maybe 3 laps left. But we are watching Rogers here being behind Sundstrom, and both cars quite fast in the straight. Can he actually catch him? It looks like he can. So he's on the inside, and he is not getting the pass done yet. But Sundstrom on the inside for the last corner, and he can actually defend it so far. Let's see how they can exit the corner. Both of these cars, as I said, fast on the straight. The BMW especially, since one of the recent patches here. But yeah, the first corner, not really one where you can actually pull off a safe overtake, but he is going for it.
I'm just going to say Mikael Sundstrom has a lot of confidence in Alex Rogers to pin him that far down the inside of the corner and expect him not to spin out the BMW, but excellent defending and well held and raced by Alex Rogers, who will get that 8th place spot from Mikael Sundstrom here as time is running out. Excellently done. What a lot. That is a lot of trust to put into somebody, though. Well, I mean, it seems like the trust was placed very well, though.
That is true, yeah. I mean, the track is wide, so if you're gonna do that, you can probably do that here. But yeah, you're right. You have to trust the other driver a lot to be able to go too wide through these fast corners here. And as I mentioned before, we see Jose George now being directly behind Belisane. I don't even want to say anything, because I feel like as soon as we mention too much of these drivers, they're just going to slide out. So it's going to be a tough one between these two.
Hey, remember this jacket that you had in the 80s? No, it's just Harry Conway in the number 28 Ferrari driving around. Was one of the first people to come down pit road. Started very, well, I'd say fairly deep in the field today. He started more near the middle, but the point is, made the right decision, got out of the middle of the pack, pitted early, ended up in front of Mikael Sundstrom, if you remember how long ago that was, and has taken on all comers, including Massoud, Vane, and the rest, and has a 10-second gap to 2nd place. And looking like he is going to pick up a win today, but still work to do, young man. 2 minutes left in the race. Anything can happen. And speaking of anything can happen, Stewie's been telling you about this right here. This is the splitter cam of Jose Jorge's car. This is wedged in between the Ferrari badge and the bottom splitter right near the racetrack. You can get a real sense of the speed and the closing rate that he gets on the back of Belisane here. They know that they're likely going to get this lap and one more. Time is of the essence for Jose Jorge. I would not have pegged Jose Jorge to get back on the podium here, but here he is with a shot late in this one.
That is true, yeah. And he... That's the hard thing in the end of the race. Like, you want to be aggressive because it is for the podium here. So it's not just any position, it's a position for the podium. But you don't want to be too aggressive because then you just risk both of you. I mean, yeah, George and Bellasane, you're losing more than just one position. It's a tough thing to balance, of being aggressive but not too aggressive. And we have Coombs here off the track.
Was there contact, or was this just him losing it by himself? Yes, he just looped it around himself. Now, tires very much an issue now, especially if you've abused them all race, which a lot of these drivers have. I would say that's a safe rejoin. Stays out of the way, gets it going and all that. Some of the fans of Alex Rogers in chat are asking where he started today. He started about 20th place, for those of you wondering. It is reverse grid. That's about where he would have been. No, actually, I take that back. He would have started about 12th. I am corrected. So, yeah, he started about 12th, and he had his struggles early. He had contact with another car, or another car made contact with him, I should say. And he had to drive back through the field. So I think at one point he was down to like 16th or something. So excellent recovery from Rogers up to 8th place as Gillies continues to try and get around Nafker here late in the race as the time expires. And the leader will be coming around to cross the line. For Massoud, it's going to be a day of what could have been. He has let about 8 seconds the gap, and by my math, if he wouldn't have had that incident where he looped it or partially looped it, he would have caught Conway.
I don't think he would. But yeah, that's something in the stars. And actually, you were right with Rogers. He did start around 20th position.
Oh, did he?
I just checked in the leaderboard. Yeah.
Okay. So
he is position 14 in the leaderboard right now. So yeah, must have been around 20th.
Oh, Vane going for one deep. He's going to try and change it. Oh, a big punt there. A punt to pass maneuver denied by the Frenchman. Will not have it. And position still to the 777 of Brunier. What an amazing job. How did he not? It was like he was Iron Man or something. He hit him and he just shrugged and kept driving. Absolutely incredible stuff. Harry Conway, though, what a day it was for this team. Started in the field, had a strategy, executed, and while everybody else struggled, the 28 Ferrari set a blistering pace and will win here today on sheer pace, and by doing it the right way, strategy and pace. Well done to him. Massoud will come home second, just 7.5 seconds behind. Bellasane will take home third. Ertan will be awarded 4th place after leading earlier. Jose Horace will settle for 5th. Brunier.
Let me stop you right there. Did you actually see the pass from Ertan and on Jose George? Because the last time we checked, he was on 4th, and now he's on 5th.
Yeah, well, again, Jose Horace was in 4th right behind Bellasane. And something massive, you're right, had to happen because you don't lose 8 seconds by just battling with somebody like that. So there must have been a touch. Brunier 6th, Vane 7th. Rogers comes across the line in 8th. Sundstrom 9th. After 10th, Gillies 11th. Octane, Katosi, Tunser, Cole, Mathis, Bugden. Schmedberger recovers to 18th. Not where he wanted to finish, I'm sure, but Robles, Cara, Aravina, Narajak, Combs, Mallet is the top 24 in this race. And folks, this is typically the part of the show where I'd like to tell you, oh, well, this is what the points table looks like, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to throw my hands up in the air and shrug because, well, we're going to have to come back next weekend and find out because this is so many moving parts that it's going to be next to impossible to determine who is the points leader. So let's just assume they're all the points leader.
That could very well be the case, looking at the current leaderboard and how many people are on the same points and close together. So yeah, the next race will definitely be interesting as well. And I'm actually a bit disappointed about this one, even though it was a great race. We could have had a bit more fighting, I guess. If Sundstrom would have stayed behind Conway, if the mechanical issue hadn't happened to Fabian Schmidberger, a lot of the guys that started in the back would have been pretty close together at the front. But nevertheless, we had great racing, a lot of slidey boys, a lot of fights. So yeah, it was cool.
Yes, indeed. It was a fantastic day. Congratulations to Harry Conway, winner of round 3 of the Pro Split of Night Out Season 2. He was 20th in the standings coming in. He will be a lot higher in the standings coming out today. A lot of sliding going around, a lot of slidey boys, like Stewie said. But from Nick Setnick on the cameras, and Stewie and myself, Jesse Lee, is a pleasure to have you guys once more. We'd like to invite you to leave a like and a subscribe if you have enjoyed the race, and stay up to date with all of the RCI GT racing. And again, like to thank all of our partners, Race Department, AK Informatica, Raceface, and the Next Level Racing. You can find all of their information in the description. Show support to people that support us. For the entire team here at RCI, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.